Stars were never meant to be worshipped, same as angels. They were never meant to be worshipped, but they were always for signs, for seasons, for days, and for months. So it's important to understand that when the wise men were going to identify Jesus, they used a star in order to know what was happening. So this was the birth of God, and they looked in the sky and they actually realized that this star is representing God. So they had an understanding of what the stars were. They weren't worshiping them, but then they were using it as for the sign of the coming of the Messiah. So this is what's happening, that these stars are actually for signs, for seasons, and for days, and for years. So this is to understand that the people who used to live in Africa used to use this as how they used to realize when to plant and when to harvest. This is their festivals were for that. The same way that the people in Israel today, the Israelites are still the Israelites, being the Israelites, are his lights, have the light in the sky. These are the lights, right? Let there be lights on the fourth day. These are the lights, Israelites, and these ones are being used in order to understand what's happening in the atmosphere through their through their interpretation of these signs. So, in our world, there are so many different paradoxes, and you have to reconcile the fact that God in Isaiah said that there are people who are putting everything upside down. So, instead of people understanding what these are, they're actually worshiping them. Instead of people knowing that every new moon, in terms of Israelites are, they're actually looking at the stars and identifying that the month has started using the moon and the stars. But how many people understand the moon cycles? This is what they're supposed to understand. This is how they keep time with God. So understanding what's happening in the sky is important. So we've often seen, heard, and realized the understanding that in Moses' dispensation, he was actually referring to everything that was happening in the stars, and how the people used to have the understanding of Taurus or the bull, which is what they were worshipping. And after that, Jesus came, and the whole fish thing is the understanding of what Pisces is. And in this age or stage, we are hearing about Aquarius. And this is what people are referring to. And in the scripture, Jesus says, if you see this man with the pitcher of water and in his house, and this is an astrological house, you should go there and understand. So this is actually crazy. Like when a person hears certain things that are happening in like books like Leviticus and Deuteronomy, that you should not be divining. So you should not be defining what the stars mean to you and worshiping them. Just like how Job says, like, I've never looked at the stars and say like, all right, that is God, and started worshiping them. But he actually is talking about constellations in the sky, like Orion and Pleiades, the Mazzaroth. So how does he know all of these names? Like an average regular person is so afraid of this scripture or this verse that they actually don't even realize the fact that the book of Job is the first book in the Bible. So the first book in the Bible is the book of Job is the oldest book in the Bible. No one actually knows who wrote it. Who wrote the book of Job? It wasn't known that it was the oldest book, but it is. So the first people who were reading the Bible were reading about the Mazzaroth, which is the zodiac, and all of these things. And when you look at the throne of God, we have these animals representing the four phases in the cycles of the seasons, which is the different constellations. So you can just look it up. Like at the end of the day, I'm not saying that you should worship stars or whatever. These are angels, these are stars, these are angels. So it's just an understanding of the signs and the symptoms of any season. So this is to know like the sweet influences of these stars, as it's put in the book of Job. So this is just knowledge, and my people perish when they don't know stuff. So to know this is not to worship it, obviously. So just knowing the devil, like knowledge of him, like knowing that he's called Lucifer, it's not saying that you're worshiping him, but it's just you not being ignorant of the designs, because these designs are being used against you. If people actually see the stars and they actually know that, oh yeah, this means that Jesus is here, and they act upon it, it means that they know this, and this is their wisdom, and this is how they actually got to this stage in understanding. When you read Revelations, it's talking about the stars. Jesus is holding the stars. So just understand this, and this is not about fear, because this fear is an obstacle that is keeping people in a limited belief state. Anyway, so moving on, we're looking in this age, and they say that this is the age of Aquarius, and Aquarius is aqua and air. So the whole understanding of it is to know that Aquarius is a paradox, because Aquarius is aqua, aqua is water, and a person would think that Aquarius means actual water. It's not a water sign, it's actually an air sign, which is Aries, the air sign. So this air is what is actually the dominant feature of it. So it's fixed air, and air is elusive. Air just moves. You don't know where it goes. You don't know how it actually moves, but it just moves. This is actually a spirit. So Aquarius is this double thing. So how does air actually hold water? Because the sign is actually the water hoarder, the water bearer. So this is a person who's actually holding the water. So this is the pitcher, the man in the pitcher. But then this is an air sign, not a water sign. So this is a confusing age. So this is actually an age of confusion. So in the sense that people are thinking one thing, but something else is happening. So this stage in our development is happening from the year that is in the Mayan calendar, that 2012 thing. Like the Mayans were saying that the world is ending, which means that the stage is ending, the age is ending. This is what happened, and this is what they were referring to. This is also to understand that this is an exodus. When they were exiting the Egyptian kingdom, they were actually exiting their understanding of what their worship used to be like. You have to understand that it was permitted by them, by God, to worship the bull as they used to do before the stage was. So their mode of worship had ended, because all along the Israelites, his real lights, which are the people who are in the understanding of what God is, these are the people who are Israel, and these are the people who used to actually worship this bull. So they used to do this because they used to understand this as true worship, and God permitted it. This is what they were doing for years and years and years, 400 years or whatever. And then at a certain point, the stage ended and they had to move on. This is how this is how the Testament comes, the First Testament, and then the New Testament fulfills that and gives them a different way to worship again. Now it's about, it used to be about the laws, but now it's about the spirit. And now we are in this age where we have been slaves for 400 years. This is a fact that the slave trade is happening in the 1600s, and now we're in the 20s. We're in the 2000s, and from the year 2000, this is the new millennium, Y2K, right? From 2000 going on, this is representing a different stage after 400 years of slavery, because slavery starts in the 1600s, 1602. This is when the Dutch East Indian Company is being formed, and this company is being being formed so that it can trade in bonds, which are slaves in bondage. And this is how the stock exchange happens. And all of these things have been happening since the 1600s. In 1619, 1620, thereabout, this is when the first slaves actually reach the US. And this is the leading power today, and it's been based on this slavery that it has accumulated all of this wealth and money and power. And all of the British companies, British countries colonizing, were using companies in order to colonize, because it's all about the love of money being the root of evil, which is creating these paradigms. And now to know that it's been 400 years of slavery is to be able to count a year, and every year has 12 months, every month has a moon. So every moon is a new moon, and this is to know what's happening in the cosmos. So this is all cosmologically understood and discerned, because every year and every month is discovered by the new moon. So you have to know that every day is discovered by the sun. So every time that we are actually considering time or anything in existence, we're using the bodies in the sky as they're created on the fourth day, that they shall be for signs, for seasons, and for days and for years. This is how it works, and this is how it will always work. So this is knowledge. This is what it is. And this is knowledge of good and evil. This is what it is. Knowledge is good and evil. So it has a duality. So you can use it for good, you can use it for evil, and that's how it is. So from this 400-year slavery stint that we've had, we have to know that we're at the exodus. We're at the exiting point. But we are being enslaved by people who also have the same understanding that it's been 400 years, that we've been enslaving these people. They've been in bondage because of our corporations. Every country is a corporation. It's an incorporated incorporated entity that's called a state. The statehood gives it its legal status that gives it the power to create these bonds that we call our whatever that it is in your country. You're in bondage to it. This is the citizenship. This is the constitution. That's why we use these corporate contracts in order to create a constitution. Everything is based on this paperwork, these contracts, and these certificates that we use in order to identify as human beings. But this humanity is actually inhuman because now we are just bonds. We're now numbers. We're just papers. We're just an understanding in corporate society that is trading people, just like bonds, just like chattel or cattle or capital. So this is what's happening, and this is how the world is run. So in this stage, like from the year 2000, so let's just say like slavery starts roughly in 1600, and then 400 years is 2000, and this is Y2K. And what's happened in this understanding is that we have moved to a different stage in awareness because we have been able to see more things. And this is what it means when we see, when we understand, and when we have knowledge, which is the knowledge of the truth, which gives us freedom. So us knowing the truth is us being freed from enslavement. So us knowing the truth is inevitable because of the progression of life. So this is how it was inevitable for his real lights to leave slavery after 400 years. And it's also true to understand that whatever that enslavement was in this Egypt, and I'm putting quotes because all of this is metaphysics. So Egypt is Egypt, but Egypt is not Egypt. So all of the people who left this paradigm of slavery left it because they had the light of God, the knowledge of God, which is knowledge, right? And then maybe there were certain other people who were still enslaved, but then they didn't leave because they didn't have the real light. So if you have the knowledge, which is the light, let there be light, let there be knowledge. If you have this knowledge, then it means that you're prepared to leave this with his real light or with the Israelites, because this is the stage that people are actually exiting this paradigm where people are being trapped by these corporations who are just bloodthirsty and money hungry. So exiting this is knowing the higher self of being. This is the hierarchy of needs, and this is how they leave a pyramid, because even the pharaohs themselves wanted to leave the world. This is why they were building pyramids, because they knew that there's a higher sense of being. They were more focused on death than they were on life, and this is how it's supposed to be and how it actually is. So them leaving this hierarchy is them leaving their needs in their body, right? And this is the different stage in development in the humanity's awareness of what life is and self-consciousness, identification of its own consciousness. So this is what's happening in this stage, in this age, that there's so many things that people now have knowledge that they didn't have before, and they're now saying things that they didn't think before. So this is a different stage, and people are leaving a different paradigm and embracing the truth in the air. Like, this is people being able to know the spirit. This is what Jesus is explaining, like the spirit moving in the air. Who knows where it's going or where it came from, but people are now perceiving this new insight, this new spirituality. This spirituality is not new because nothing is new under the sun. So this is people going back to the roots. This is people finding their way back to the land of Punt. This is people finding their way back to the tree of life. The tree of life is planted in the earth, which is the heart. The earth is the heart. E-A-R-T-H is H-E-A-R-T. So the earth is the heart. So people finding their way back to the heart. This is what it is. Aqua is in the heart. This is where all of your water is, the heart. But in the same instance, we have this age being controlled by people who want control. So when you look at the 400 years of slavery that we've had, it has been corporate bondage or mental slavery, mental shackles that have been keeping us in this state of sleep, deep sleep. This is what God is saying, like, I have sent them a deep sleep, a delusion of deep sleep, that even though they'll see, they won't see, even though they'll hear, they won't hear. This is what's been happening for the past 400 years. If I told you that the black person is actually who I'm saying is Israel, this is the Israelite, because of so many reasons, which we'll go into. But then if if you don't actually understand that or grasp it, that it is a person who is spoken of in Thessalonians 2, who is being said is the man of lawlessness, the man of sin, the son of perdition. This is the person who has put himself into the temples of God by saying a certain white lie and creating himself to be worshipped as God, even though he is not God. This is the image of Jesus Christ that we worship as a white man who is God, but he was not God. This is the illusion. This is the deep sleep. This is what Paul is saying. This is what's happening in this age, believe it or not, but you're either going to embrace the truth or love unrighteousness. Unrighteousness is just a lie. So if you're believing a lie that you know, in Revelation it says that this Jesus person actually has bronze skin that looks like it's brown stuff that's burnishing skin. Like if I start burning this brown stuff, right? What color is it gonna be? Burnished, right? What color is that gonna be? Or woolly hair. Who has woolly hair? So this is just to understand the word as it is put, not the word as it is perpetrated, as it is given to you in the lie. This is the Babylon. This is the babbling, and this is the lie that we're living, because people want to entrap people's minds through slavery. So his real light is actually a light. This is his real light. This is how they were moving with his real light in the desert. They had a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, which gave them light. This is his real light that they were moving with. This is the real Israelite. And them moving with this is them transporting their knowledge through this light. And now we have the same stage that we're now exiting as an exodus, going through another Red Sea. So this Red Sea is representing a rebirth in the mind. So this is how we are being reborn as a people, because this is what it is. So it's been 400 years of slavery, right? Believe it or not, we've been slumbering for 400 years. Sleeping sons of Jacob have been asleep for 400 years. This is what God has done to us, because we are loving unrighteousness. So we have to go back to righteousness. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness, and these things will be added unto you, which are the blessings that have been endowed with us. These are sleeping, dormant, innate in us, that we have to reawaken because they are asleep. So this slumber is being caused by these people who want people's minds to be shackled, because my people perish when they don't have knowledge. So we've been deprived of knowledge. So when you know that the true Israelites are the true people created in the garden by God from the sand, what color is the sand? All right. So they're created by the sand, by the color of sand, which is the hue, which is the human, which is the color, which is humanity. So this humanity comes from Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve were black people. But look at any picture, like just Google Adam and Eve. What color are they? Just Google Jesus. What color is he? So this has been the son of perdition, which is a sin, which is us loving a lie. So when we look into this age, we see that this is an age of this light or this enlightenment, whatever this aqua is, the Aquarius, which is the air and the water, which is itself this difficult thing to grasp. But at the same time, what we're seeing is that it's all about us knowing God, because Aquarius is about Uranus, which is a planet, and I'm not going to get into that in this video, but it is important to know that it's been 400 years, and from the year 2000 everything has started to change in order to manipulate people's minds. So what happened in the year 2003 was the burning of the Twin Towers, and this is something that is changing everything in our age or in our stage or in our understanding, because after this happened, we have been at war with Islam. So Islam is this religion that is coming from the Middle East, that is springing from Judaism, that springs from Christianity, and then it makes Islam. So it's important to realize that Islam is actually a son of Abraham. Abraham had no religion. So I'm sick and tired of hearing people Christians who want to claim Abraham as being their own because they are Christian. And this is not true, because Abraham had no religion. What religion did Abraham practice? Nothing. He was not religious. So this is what we have to reconcile, that God comes in this new Jerusalem. He doesn't come with a Bible. He doesn't come with the Quran even, but he comes with himself, and he is now the temple, because he is the real light, because there is no more stars in the sky, because he is the real light. So his real light is the one that is coming. So this real light is what God is. It's not found in a synagogue. It's not found in a temple. It's found in the true knowledge of God. This is his real light. This is the true Israelite. So when we got into this new stage in 2000, 2003 came. In 2000, we found that the Twin Towers burnt so that people would start a war with Islam, and this Islam is Islam. So his lamb, this is the sacrifice that is being made. So they are actually sacrificing his Islam in order to create this war that is creating a different paradigm in our minds, because these people are so-called illuminated, which is the light, who are fighting his real light, because they are the luminous, they are the Lucifer. So this is what's fighting his real light, or his lamp, and the lamp that is on top of a hill, which is just supposed to be living in peace. Like, if I'm not supporting terrorists, but what I'm saying is that if you are a person who has his real light, or a son of Abraham, it means that you are truly reflecting the love of God, which is true purity, true love, the 9 fruit of the Spirit. That's just it. This is his real light. Otherwise, anything besides that is not real light. This is illumination. This is just an illusion. So this is the delusion that we're living in. So when we realize that this light is being fought, is being created to fight a fake war that is creating a fake understanding of what his lamp is, his lamb is, because these are the sons of Abraham, and as long as love is existent, then this is his real light, because this is what it all is. Just know that God is one, and just love your brother as you love yourself, regardless if you're even a person who's a Rastafari is a son of Abraham, because they're reading the Bible and they're perpetrating love. Like, this is their sin. Their sin is love, right? So this is not even a sin. This is what it is. This is the real light. So whatever it is, even if a person is a Buddhist, if they know that God is one, they love God and they love their neighbor as they love themselves. This is it. This is the fulfillment of the law. So this is to know that all of this illumination is causing this light, or this lamp is lamp to his lamp to fight against his light, and this is just light fighting against light because of the light bearer. So this is what is directing this burning of the Twin Towers, so that this light can be fought over, so that they will direct the energy in this new stage. They want to direct the energy in this new stage. So whatever it is, if this is the age of Aquarius, what they have done by bombing the Twin Towers was them creating this energy that will be fought over, because ever since 2000, ever since this new age, we've been at war with Islam. We've been at war with this fakeness. And this fake war is just accumulating, and is accumulating into something else that is bigger, that is based on a lie. So this is a Babylon system. It's babbling in this system. So this is a fake war that is actually fighting against the sons of Abraham, because if they are the sons of Abraham, it means that they have love, and the son of Abraham is a person of faith. This is all it is. Abraham had no religion, and this whole Christianity thing is just something that is narrow-minded, because if I were born in a different region, I'd have a different religion. So to understand religion is just to understand a certain region. So this region has Islam as their religion because that is the region they're in, and I have this religion that I was forced into, or I was born into, which is Christianity, because of the region I was born into. So this is just to understand the light of God, the true Israelite, the true his real light, and to know that certain people want to control the energy of this age by creating a war with his lamp and his real light, so that they can direct their light, which is Luciferian light, so that they can hold the torch in the new light. So this is what people are going to be confused over for the next couple of years, because this is how this age of aqua and air, this is a contradiction. All right, how does air hold water? So this is the age that we're in. So this is actually an age of a new insight into life. This is a stage of a new insight into life, and we can't deny this, because this is what it is. When we look into the internet, this is what it is. This is the age of technology, the age of internet. Then the internet is aqua and areas, because aqua is a current or a currency, and air is Wi-Fi. So this is what we're in. 5G, 2G, whatever. So this is the age and this is the stage. So just keep your mind open and be love.